Welcome everybody to the Free Zoom Foundation. Hello to those that joined us live and those that will be listening to the replay. As every time we create a foundation in my business, we ask to contribute to all the foundations around the world and getting more information about this class out into the world as best we can. So we've started to do these free Zooms to just explore what is foundation. I saw a video of someone today, another certified facilitator, Georgia Watson, and she was saying that she actually took the bars class, which is the prerequisite for foundation, in order to get to foundation, because she wanted to have more tools in her toolbox to create a life that she was asking for. And so what this looks like today is I have an hour to contribute to you and contribute any questions you have, whether that is about the class itself or about anything that is covered in foundation, to give you a taste of me and my facilitation, and also what it looks like to dive into getting facilitated by a certified facilitator if you haven't had that experience before. So foundation is a 4-day class that covers topics like money, relationship, family, abuse, hidden points of view, all these different things that we have used to create the life that we currently have. Okay. And feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to ask any questions now. And we'll go as long as I have wind in my sail to talk, or someone raises their hand, asks a question. So we don't have to be here for a full hour if that's not required. But basically over the 4 days, you dive into looking at the points of view that you have bought and made yours, and then basically wake up every day to prove to yourself. So a lot of us have felt wrong our whole lives, so we're fighting to be right. And a lot of us are trying to prove that we're right when we actually really feel wrong. And getting out of the polarity of judgment is really where the freedom is. Not being in the constant avoidance of judgment is basically where a lot of us create our lives from. So the Access tools invite you to undo that programming. And one of the big tools that we use, that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And because I see a lot of people have probably heard me talk about this before, but I'm going to do it here for new people. The way that we shorten the clearing statement is POC and POD, and that's point of creation and point of destruction. So basically what happens is you're going along in your life and you don't have a point of view about something until someone inserts one. Okay. So you woke up as an infant and you were like, I'm here, world, what can I create? And you're excited and you're embodied. And now the world goes, here's everything that's right. And here's everything that's wrong. And that'll be different than other people because other people have different influences, whether that's geographical, cultural, parental, whatever that is, they all have different influences. So then you're battling the world and its points of view and the ones that you were told to make right. So the POC and POD is this tool where you get to go back in time, and POC means point of creation. So the one I use all the time is money. So our parents deliver a lot of points of view about money to us. So it can be money's dirty. So you're a little kid, you put a coin in your mouth, mommy says, hey, don't put that in your mouth, it's dirty. And what goes in is money is dirty. And so what happens with us is that we avoid money from one little point of view that was delivered where we were told it was dirty. Okay. Because who wants something dirty around, right? We need to get that out. We need to wash it. We need to push it away. So here you're a little kid, you get money is dirty. And the point of creation of that spurns off of that point of view is a new creation of your life. Okay, for every point of view you take a different path. So when we go to point of creation, we go to point of destruction, you destroy the path you would have gone on if you didn't take that point of view. So what we do with the clearing statement is we go back in time, we ask a question, we bring up as much of the energy as we can to get you back to the place to what is true for you. So you could have, I see a lot of faces like, what are you talking about? If you have that face on, please raise your hand. I'm totally happy to break this down even further. But you go back to go, okay, what's true for me? What's true for me about money? If I didn't buy that point of view, that this is the limited reality I have to choose, how would I show up in the world? And the foundation over those 4 days actually takes you through looking at all the points of view that we can get up in 4 days in order to clear them, so that you have more space outside of judgment. I see your hand, Caesar or Merlin. I don't know who's raising their hand, but I'll be with you just one sec. So my first foundation was with Shannon O'Hara in Dane and Gary's living room in 2008. I was introduced to the bars in 2000, and I was like, this is some weird shit. Dane's my brother, and I was like, you go be the weirdo that you've always been. I'm going to be over here being normal. Thank you for the nap, because that's all that happened when you touched my head for an hour. It was a great nap. And then I went on trying to prove that this reality was more valuable than possibilities for the next 8 years. I was at 2008, I had my third child, and I was kind of drowning. I went on this path to prove that I was something that I wasn't. And I was choosing things, including having a ton of children, to make myself feel valuable. Now I love my children and I'm grateful to be a mom, but that was my mindset in creating that life. When I hear people now, like there are people on my team that are younger, and they're like, I'm not having kids. I'm like, wow, when I was that age, I didn't know that I could even contemplate not having kids. Like, all I did was scribble my kids' names on every little notebook paper. And I was gonna have 2 boys and 2 girls, and they were gonna be named this, and and then I would fantasize about their last name. And that I was always in the fairy tale creation of someone else's reality. And so here I was, third kid in, and I was like, where am I? And I called Dane, and he was like, hey, no, kidding. Dane called me actually. And he's like, I'm about to do this thing called level 2 and 3, which is now COP. And he's like, I'd really like you there. And for me, I was like, okay, I'll support my brother in anything he's doing, even if it's this weird shit. And if he's asking me to go, I'll go, and I'll pretend to like what's happening. So he's like, I asked Shannon to give you a private bars and foundation class the weekend before. So I drove up to Santa Barbara, brought my at that time, I think she was like 6-month-old baby with me every day. And I sat through that class for the first time, feeling like most of it went over my head. I'm not gonna lie. It's why I'm a huge fan of people choosing more than one foundation and with more than one facilitator. Okay, because a lot of people go, oh, I already did that class. And yes, you did, but I'm telling you, you're different now. And receiving the class is so different every consecutive time. So I went to the class. I like I said, I didn't understand any of it. I was still saying the clearing statement completely wrong. I was like, why are we always talking about boys' shorts? I didn't understand why boys' shorts were going to change my life. Although I enjoyed them, they were not the tool that was going to, further me along. So I did that. And then I went to Dane's level 2 and 3 class the next weekend. And again, sat there with like a deer in headlights. I didn't become a certified facilitator until 2015, 7 years later. So I started taking classes, but they were all the ones that were really convenient for me, that I didn't have to stretch for, that were in my backyard in Los Angeles or maybe Santa Barbara. And I think I went as far as San Francisco, because that was wild that I could go all the way up there from Southern California. My story is that basically my life crashed down in 2014, and I was like, I need help. Financially, everything was in the red. My husband had been lying to me about the finances. I was like up a creek without a paddle, as they say. And the only person I knew with a paddle was my brother, whose life had blown up over all these years. And so I was like, hey, that access stuff you're doing, I might be willing to try it now because I'm fucking desperate. So what I would love to invite you to in this part of my story is that what I know is that I didn't know this then, every single thing that I've chosen in my life, whether it was like what I wore to that talent show in 4th grade, to whether I kissed the guy in the first date, to how I dyed my hair last week, every single thing that I've chosen has got me here sitting with you right now. Okay. So everything in your life, everything, every pitfall, every heartbreak, every bad choice, every wrong turn has got you here asking questions for greater. Okay. So if you're willing to actually receive that and then move forward with these tools, the spaces and places that can open up that are so fucking different, when you don't have to get out of wrongness, is extremely magical. Okay. So anything and everything that you think you have to fix by going to a foundation, anything about you that you think is wrong, that getting to a foundation will make right, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. What is true is that even the stick of gum, I mean, Gary's talked about a stick of gum and that he'll ask if the stick of gum is creating the future he like. Even the stick of gum that you chose, in high school before you went on that date or whatever, that is part of the choices that have created you being here, opening up to something different. Okay. So if you didn't have to do what was right and what was wrong, what was good and what was bad, how do I undo the things in the past in order to get to the future I'd like to have? If none of it was a problem, what would you be able to choose? And how would you create with these tools? So basically all of the things that had came before for me that I was making wrong, that I thought I had to get out of, it was a catalyst to something greater. It was a catalyst to me to finally receive these tools. It was a catalyst for me asking different questions, or even asking a fucking question. I didn't even know that you could do that. That has completely transformed my life. It was a matter of, I can't do math anymore, like 7 years ago, that I was terrified. And I mean, like terrified to fly from Los Angeles to Vancouver, Canada, which is basically just a different form of Los Angeles with a different accent and some water around. And I was terrified to do that. And now I'm on a plane every couple weeks, traveling to different countries by myself. I would have told you that 7 years ago, that there's no way I could afford it. There was no way it was possible as a mother and a wife, and that I would never know how to navigate the thing that I was asking for, which is to travel more. Okay. And I know that those possibilities started to show up in my life because I started using these tools that are in foundation. So Caesar, Merlin, who's talking to me today?
It's Caesar.
Hey, Caesar.
He has a silly question.
Okay.
My question is, when Gary puts the name to the classes, like it always makes sense. Like even if it like doesn't make sense, it makes sense. But with foundation, I like never really gotten about it. Like what he means by putting the name foundation. And I know there's like at the beginning of the manual, like the description of like something about getting rid of the foundation, but like putting something else in there. So can you talk more about that?
I love this question. Thank you. So let's talk about like, look at your reality right now, all of us. Okay. Do you have the dream house, the dream mansion of your reality? Are you living in the apartment of your reality? Do you have the shack of your reality? How is your reality built right now? Like from where you are, what you know should be possible, and you just don't know how to get there. What does it look like? And some of us are in, like, I know I was like, well, I'm comfortable. And part of my point of view is, how dare I ask for more, because I already have more than other people. So I probably don't deserve to ask for more. So I was like, in the median area of like, this is good enough. And so your reality is built on a foundation of all the points of view that we talked about in the beginning. So mom's points of view, dad's points of view, teachers, churches, aunties, uncles, family, geography, culture, all of that has kind of formed where you build your life on. So your foundation. And what I know is that if I have a shack sitting on this foundation, it's not the life and living I'd like to have. It's a small little tiny house sitting on top of this foundation. If I would like to create something way greater, I can't teeter it on top of the roof of the old foundation. Okay. It won't sustain. It's not sustainable for it to teeter there. So what foundation does is actually allows you to wipe out the old so that you can start to build a new foundation for whatever magical life you're asking for from what is true for you. Okay, so that you're not limited by the things that are there that are making everything so solid that you can never build out and up, because none of this ground or this foundation was what was true for you. So the way that I look at that, and for willing to go further with you, Caesar, is that we have to start having our foundation be what is true, whether anybody else gets it, in order to create the magic and that we'd like to have in our lives. Otherwise, it's like trying to plant something in a soil that will never grow, because it doesn't have the access to you as a being through all of that. Does that help?
Yes, I think the soil analogy like really make it clear. You know, like trying to plant an avocado tree in the desert or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll change it how we answer the question from here on out. So it'll be a soil analogy. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like trying to dig up the concrete and then like shove the seed in between, the two little spots where there's a little bit of like growth.
Yeah.
But destroying that allows you to have, the truth of who you be and what is true for you about your asks and your demands and all that, have that nurture and build a new.
Has that something to do with, how when Dane says that it doesn't really matter what you do, but like the space from which you do it, like that, like the foundation space, or?
Well, yeah, if you look at this, like if I'm, and I would say that we could all look at a place in our lives where we're doing it, where you're going after a target that has been projected at you, that is the right target. So it's like why a lot of kids go to college and then change their major 17 times, because at first they're going to the college that someone else wanted them to go to, or that is the right college. Then when they get there, they're like, well, I want to do the one that will make the most money because that's what everybody told them is valuable. And then they start studying that and they're like, oh, I'm not good at that. So I don't want to be wrong my whole life. So I'll change to what my friends are doing. And then they're not working. That's not working out. So we start to build this whole future around everybody else's points of view, and it will never grow. Because doing something that isn't true for you based on someone else's point of view doesn't have the bandwidth. But if we're like, know what's true for us and what's really fun and what lights us up, and we go after that and we target that with our ask, then yeah, the soil of that universe, and just the soil, can get behind it and move it way faster. Did that add on?
Yes. Thank you.
Marian, I'm going to call on you, and I love this this dynamic show your screen is giving us. It's like an old version of you and a new version of you. I don't know which one's true, but if you want to mute.
Am I okay? Can you guys hear me? This is crazy. Like Kate says, it's trippy.
Yeah.
So the question I have is a little bit about body relationship and judgments. I'm having a little bit of a tug of war with my body, because quite frankly, I think I'm having this crazy midlife crisis, and my body is asking me repeatedly for things that maybe it's not such a good idea to give her, because, marriage and shit. Uh-huh.
Why are you on the class last weekend?
Say that again? How? God, I wish. These 2 weeks have been insane. I had Monkey's birthday party last Friday. Then Thursday, Alonso turns 18. Last Tuesday, he turned 18. And now I have a teenage bash at my house tomorrow. And, it's not mine. And that kind of breaks my head a little bit. But it was crazy. I so wish I could have been on that weekend. I swear to God.
Well, we're gonna do a live one in Mexico, so just keep your eyes.
Bless your heart, woman.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So, what if you didn't have to age? We're gonna start with that tug of war thing. What if you didn't have to age like anyone else?
Agreed.
Okay, because the midlife crisis thing is so funny. That is part of creating a life instead of a living. Okay, so we're taught that we have to plan out our life, like even the mention of college, right? Like we do the college thing, we do the projection of a future thing, and then we create a presumptive reality to go along that path in order to get to the thing that we know we'd like to have. And a lot of it is all creating a life, but oftentimes there's no living, because you're waking up every day to fulfill some target that may or may not actually be yours, but it's to hit a certain target within each like age range, if you will. So, you know, by this age, you should have this many babies. That's all I heard, I guess. By this age, you should be married. By this age, you should have a house, and you should have, you know, this or that. And then we measure, look at where you're doing it right now. Where do you measure you based on someone else around your age? Are you greater than them? Maybe you're greater than them. And then what's really fun about that is you're greater than others, but not as great as you. It's a real great comfort zone.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know, and then you measure, you know, and if you're not as great as them, are you wrong? Because they've hit some targets that you have yet to hit. So you're like constantly trying to play catch up, and in nowhere is that living and getting up every day and being grateful to be alive and being like, what would I like to choose today that'll create the greatest future? Now, I will tell you, the first time I heard stuff like this, and I was like, there's no, like, you can't fucking do that and be successful and be happy, like willy-nilly, just throwing things out there like that. Like, I completely had that point of view. So if that's showing up for you, when you hear this for the first time, if it is your first time, then what I would say is just go to the POC and pod. Okay, everything that is, I POC and pod it. What else is possible here that I've never considered? So with you, Marion, if you look at how much of like midlife crisis, like even the word midlife, like now something has to
I know,
happen.
says who, right?
Yeah. So everything that is, that's not yours, will you return to sender wherever you got it from? You don't have to know the postage address.
Who cares? Just, you know,
Please return
attach a break and send.
with consciousness attached.
That's in the break, the consciousness.
So right, wrong, good, bad, pod, puck, all nine, shorts, boys, hovads, and beyonds. And what you can ask is like, if I were truly creating my life with my body today, what would I ask for right away?
I like that.
Everything that doesn't allow it, will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and puck, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. And then like desires that go against commitments. Is that what you're into?
Yes.
That's where you need to get vulnerable with you and what creates your life. What would you like to have as your life? And what have you decided or concluded that this desire is going to get you or give you that you can't choose yourself? And where are you limiting you in or like free Zoom and like
I had to come and ask the weird question. I know.
I love that about you. But okay, I'll do this, and then I invite you to the relationship call that I have tomorrow, which is $25. And
You have a relation. I didn't know that. Why did I not know that?
I don't know, girl, but we marked it down to $25 to give people a Valentine's Day gift, so you can come play tomorrow.
Good job, you. Yes.
Okay. But the thing is that this reality tells us that you are doing relationship to anything. Now it could be relationship to your family, your gym, your friend. Like if you go to the gym and the gym's now your new relationship, if you have your work as your main focus, like whatever it is that in order to prove that that thing is valuable to you or that person, the way that we give up us. Okay. So you give yourself up for your work. You're like, I mean, I literally was talking to like a doctor yesterday, and she's like, how often do you do this? How often do you exercise? I was like, I'm in front of a Zoom camera all day. Who has time for that? You know, I was looking at what my choices are, that I'm like putting my body and my health at the last of the list because I love what I do so much that I don't make time for me and my body the way that I should. So take that and look at relationships. Now, this isn't like a relationship bashing thing. If you love being in a relationship, I'm also married, and you know, create it how you'd like to create it. There's no right and wrong, but identify, bring the awareness to you so you know what you're choosing. That's basically what the exploration and foundation is to like, wow, I never looked from that place. Okay, cool. Is that true for me? Is it not true for me? What else is possible? I've never considered. So back to my statement that I have yet to finish because I have ADHD. is
I love that about you.
in this reality, we're taught that the way that you prove that something's value is you give part of you up for it. Okay. So you meet someone and you're like, wow, they're fucking amazing. And I just want to spend all my time with them and just gobble them up. And so therefore I'm going to stop hanging out with my friends, or I don't have time to do these things that I used to love. And at first it feels like the payoff is amazing. Okay. Because you just love this thing or this person so much and you just want to be with them all the time. And little by little, it creeps in that being with them is more valuable than being with you or having you. And then you wake up 20 years later and you're like, where did I go? And they're doing the same thing. This is not just, you know, it's
Yeah,
not,
no, I know. And I've been working on that because I did do that so much. You know this. I've been working on that. I've been looking for my friends and going out more and things like that. It's just this this thing where I want to have fun all the time. And you
how
know,
dare you?
what?
How dare you? You're a wife and mother. You're not supposed
How
to have
dare
fun.
I? Exactly. And I just want to go out dancing and get sloshed and, turn, like behave as if I were 20, which I guess in my head I am.
Yeah. So, okay, if this wasn't about age, if it wasn't about midlife crisis, and it wasn't even about your relationship, what is your body asking for that you're trying to categorize into these other things?
If anybody has kids around, cover their ears. I tend to be blunt.
I like it.
Basically, my body is asking to go out and have fun and get me some big dick.
Okay.
Like literally that. And I did go and ask for a hall pass and I got it for all of 2 days. And I wish you could see my face right now because you would be rolling with laughter. I got a hall pass for 2 days and then it was taken away and I did not have time to do anything about it.
Okay, so for those of you translators that might not have understood, she said a hall pass, which is permission in a marriage to play.
To go play with someone else.
Someone else. She got it for 2 days and then it was revoked. Okay, so what's your question?
No, I'm just letting you know what my body's asking for because you did, ask, like, what does she want? Well, that's what she wants. And it's kind of, counter contrary to, everything that not only I, but he was brought up to. And so I'm breaking his head into tiny little pieces.
So what I would invite you to is you invited this part of me on this free Zoom, so I'm going to just unleash it. So then you guys really know what you're getting. So what is big dick energy to you? Like, why don't you look at what that actually is that you've decided is copulation? Now, the interesting part of that is there are so many things that we like peg on that. Like if I have that, then like, and it's often the thing that you're told you're not supposed to have or do. So you're like, then I will be free. But there's so many other choices around that to create the freedom that it actually isn't the sleeping with someone else. And it very well might be, but there are so many other places that you lock that out of your world in order to be in a marriage that you can start to open up and then see when you get to big dick store, if that's actually what you'd like to choose.
Okay.
Okay.
I never, thank you for that. Cause I did not like that never entered my mind. Like I was looking for an energy and not some guy to go boink.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's an energy and it's also where we fixate on a target as the solution for everything. Okay. So it's like, well, I know this will fix it. Like whatever it is, you guys can look at it. Like if I finally have the girlfriend, if I finally have the boyfriend or the car or the, this right with the family or this right with money, then everything else will go away. And what's true is that's generally a band-aid for something you're not actually looking at. So if you're desiring more lust in your life, be more lust things that you're really that you desire and go for them. If you want to move your body and perceive all that lust and have it flow through, go dancing more. What have you cut off on how you show up? Like, how do you dress? How do you, look at all of these energies and the things that are around this. Do you cut off receiving from other men because you're married? What if you just change that? And I don't like, you can receive copulation, and then there's just receiving. Like, do you acknowledge, and are you willing to flirt with the energies that are walking by or there? Do you flow those energies? And your body might get so turned on that going home and having sex with your husband is exactly what's required. And maybe not. Maybe you have to continue to look at the choices that you're making. But what I know is that when you start to look at this from an energetic place, you have way more information to have that conversation with him and see what's possible there than you do when you're like, I need dick. Right? Because that's an assault on him if you're just like, I just need a different dick inside me. You know what I mean? And
well, at least I pushed him back into his diet. That's something.
okay. I don't know if you want to ask me a question about that, I will give you a question back. And if you don't, it's fine.
I think I have taken up enough of your time.
Well, I'm happy. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I love this because this is exactly what foundation does. It gives you a different perspective. It opens up the space for you to take on different points of view and look at things from, like when you stand up on the chair and everything looks different, that's exactly. And this is what you've done for me. I had not looked at it like from what energies am I playing with? I was so stuck in the body.
Cool.
That I was not looking at it from a different perspective.
Yeah. And you might ask, who does this belong to? So, if you're going dancing or you're hanging out with friends more, you might also ask, like, how much of this thing that I'm creating as a need isn't even mine.
Huh.
And it might be that like only 3% is it yours, but you see just like that awareness, that lightness can start to move for you to go, oh, okay, cool. Like I am tapped into other people that have this as like a need and a desire, and they have to get it. And all of the women across the globe that you're aware of that are at a certain age that are worried that their hormones are changing and all of these things and blah blah blah. And so those energies like feel like a need for sex. And if you pocket pot it that, like, what is true for you?
There is a replay, right?
Yeah, the replay will go out.
Good.
Thank you, Marian.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right, guys, is there any other questions? Because we're here. I'm here just to contribute to you. Any questions you have about foundation or facilitation, or you have a question for me to be facilitated with? Thanks, Berta. Otherwise, we can jump now because it's not to come here and like deliver the class. Got Rachel. It's really to contribute to you knowing more about what foundation class is. Okay, we had Rachel, and then Rachel's hand went away. Did you want to ask a question, Rachel? You are welcome to unmute. Hi. Oh, I can't hear you yet, babe. I love your robe. It looks yummy. If you just unmute, can you unmute yourself? Oh, 1 second. She's figuring it out. Okay. Do you guys know where it is on a phone? The unmute button, it's like a little microphone towards the bottom left. Is that right?
I think it's at the bottom left. At least it's on my phone, but she has to tap the screen for it to show up.
Oh yeah, tap the screen, babe, and then you might see the little microphone on the bottom left.
Of course, it's hardest to act when you're on the spot,
I know.
Just a side note.
Or Kate, can you ask her to unmute? I think you can do that as a host,
I can
right?
do that. I pushed the ask to unmute button. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The tech team to the rescue.
I know.
But she still has to press.
Rachel, do you want to go out of the Zoom and come back in and see if something resets, and then just I'll see you and we'll add you again. Does that work? Okay, cool. Yeah, that might give you a little bit more space. I already got it. All right, cool. Okay. You got to help me with your name, babe. Oh, I'm going to fuck it up. And will you tell me?
Her name is Özge.
Özge. Thank you.
Sesim geliyor mu? Hey.
Geliyor Özge'cim.
Okey, buradan soruyorum o zaman. Parayla ilişkim bok gibi.
My relationship with money is very shitty.
Bir sürü sınıf almayı seçiyorum.
And I choose to attend lots of access classes.
Ve ölene kadar para durumumun bok gibi olacağını düşünüyorum bir taraftan.
And I think till I die, my money situation will always be very shitty.
Kendi içimde sıkışıklıklar ve depremler yaşıyorum bu konuda.
And I have earthquakes and some kind of pressure inside me.
Ya bu durumu kendim için nasıl kolaylaştırabilirim?
How can I facilitate the situation for me?
Okay. So the main thing that we need to address, all of us, and remind ourselves always, our point of view creates our reality. So basically, like, I'm trying to give you another example. Okay, here's one. So I, a year ago or something, I bought a new car, and it was the car that I had always been like, oh, I'd like to have that car. But until I bought that car, did I see all the other cars in my actual neighborhood on my street that are the same car. Okay. Because I wasn't looking for it. I never saw it. I never looked for, who else owns a white BMW. It was just, I'd like a white BMW. A white BMW shows up, and all of a sudden I see everybody. Like, to me, it seems like everybody in this neighborhood has a white BMW. Okay. Because my point of view now is like aware of way more the white BMWs around me. Now, that they were all there before, but I didn't see them because they didn't match my point of view of what I was looking for. Okay. If you have the point of view that probably isn't your point of view, that your money situation will always be shit until you die, that is what you wake up every day to prove to yourself. You won't even ask a true question from wonderment and possibility, and you won't even choose the people or the classes or the clients or those things. You won't even perceive them in your world. They will be not even there if you are in total belief that this thing will never change. So you could be sitting on a park bench and it's next to someone who's like, because I see it says BF next to your name, so I know you're a bars facilitator. And this person over here is like, had just read an article about the bars and would like to get a bar session, and you could be sitting right next to them and you will not even perceive that they're there or that they have something that you could contribute to with the bars. It won't even go in, okay? Because it doesn't match your point of view, which is why in Access, we clear as many of the points of view that we have so we can be open to receiving way more than we thought was possible based on what we were delivered growing up, like all the programming. Okay. So as far as changing this, it's like, I know Simone Milas's, one of the easiest things that I've heard is she's like, every night before she went to bed, when she was getting out of debt, she would say, everywhere I uninvited money today, I destroy and uncreate it and run the clearing statement. Don't have to figure out where, but everywhere I uninvited money. Okay. The other thing that we'll go into in foundation is, what have you concluded money is that it isn't? And what is money not that it actually is? Okay. Because money is not coin, it's not paper. That is, it's an energy. Okay. And like when I've done the How to Become Money workbook, I talk about how money is like this, like really excited energy that wants to play with everybody. Hi. It's like a 2-year-old, and it's jumping up and down and say, come play with me. And what we do and what we're taught is to blame it for everything. Okay. So it's like, I can't play with you. You're the reason I'm not happy. I can't play with you. You're the reason I didn't get, that job, or I didn't get to go on that trip. Go away, money. Okay. Because I'm busy blaming you for my entire life being completely fucked up. And the reason my parents' life was fucked up and their parents' life. So why are you in my house? And then money says, oh, okay, I'll go over here where someone is willing to receive me and play. Okay, it's an energy. And it also activates the receiving that we can choose. So anytime anybody gifts you anything, buys your lunch, anytime you should have gotten a ticket, like a parking ticket or a speeding ticket, I'm a speeding ticket type of girl. Anytime that I fly by a police officer and he doesn't pull me over, I'm like, cha-ching, because I just made probably in LA $150 to not get pulled over right then. Because that every time I get an upgrade on a plane, cha-ching, that's free money the universe is adding to my life. Okay. When like you starting to look from the place of the energetics of money can include money in a totally different way than we've been taught. Okay. So a few years ago, Gary Douglas held a staff call. And what he asked us to do was to look at all the classes we had received as staff over the year and add it to our bottom line of what we made that year. Because that is receiving, and all of those classes cost money. And because we worked on the class, we received it for free, but how many of us were discounting it as not income of money? And when I looked at that, I was like, whoa, I'm way more wealthy than I have acknowledged. And then you start acknowledging it, the wealth that you have in your world that doesn't look like paper bills or coins. And from that place, you can create greater. Okay. So everything that brought up or let down for all of us, can we just join and create it times the godzillion, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. There was a second part to that question, Yasim, and I'm forgetting. Can you help me? There was the money reality.
Me too. I could not remember. I will ask her. Özgeciğim, ikinci sorusu neydi? Para dışında bir soru daha var. Ben de hatırlayamadım. İkinci soru.
Parayla ilgili depremler hissediyorum içimde. Sıkışıklıklar. Ya bedenimde daha çok harekete geçiyor. Yani bedenimde bir sürü tepki açığa çıkıyor.
And about this money situation, kind of my body is showing some reaction. Like I feel earthquakes inside my body, and I feel stuck with my body about money.
Okay, are you in Turkey?
Sen,
Evet.
yes.
Was there just like a huge earthquake in Turkey? Are there people stuck in Turkey? In the earthquake rubble? Are you aware of them?
Evet.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. So what if you sat there as the magic, the miracles, the mysteries, and the possibilities that you be, and ask, like, what energy, space, conscious, and if you're a bars facilitator, you've heard this, what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, possibilities, and potency can I be to contribute to all of this? What does it look like if I actually have an awareness or I'm tapped into those bodies? Can I flow them enough energy to keep them alive until they're found? Can I be something that allows like them to be seen energetically, to be found? What do I know about this? And what do you be that has whatever's going on in Turkey and the earth? What do you be that exponentializes it to a greater future, and not the way the world wants to see it as the havoc and the despair? What do you be that you could sit with and be like, you know what? Like, I know something else is possible. And I know that this is something showing up that is showing up in a way that I didn't think it was going to show up. Okay. How much change have you been asking for in Turkey that caused the earthquake? Not from blame.
Çok fazla.
Too much.
Okay. Or not enough yet. Okay. So if you're willing to know that you are that powerful, now look back at a money problem and tell me that you can't change it. I dare you.
Evet, artık bu çok komik geliyor.
Yes, this is ridiculous right now. It sounds very ridiculous to me.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that you just showed us so beautifully, what it looks like to be shrouded in an energy of a country or in an energy of the despair and think it's yours and not see a way out. So thank you for that. And when you start to ask questions and you're like, wow, I'm not under the rubble. I feel like I'm under the rubble. What am I aware of? What am I aware of? Who am I?
Omega.
What can I contribute to? Now you're empowered. You're not living under the rubble that you think is your rubble.
Evet. Yaşam coşkum daha çok arttı. Çok teşekkür ederim.
I have lost for living right now. Thank you so much.
Awesome. What else is possible? Keep asking that. And you know, what less for living can I choose today? You know, and what gratitude can I have to be alive? Like it's no mistake that the magical you is not under the rubble, my friend. Okay, because you're part of creating that as a future. You're part of taking what just got activated by this earthquake and turning it into magic and miracles. Are you good? Thank you for trusting me. Kimberly. Hello, pretty lady.
Hello. Oh, I don't feel that pretty right now. But that's okay. So I've been working with a coach at Adriana Popescu, and I told her I really wanted to take this class, and we you know, the work we do in Access, because she and I do a lot of Access work. She said, you know, be ready because your brain's going to feel kind of jumbled. And I'm not trying to dissuade anyone here. I don't mean to say that in a bad way at all. But I guess the thing that I worry about really is being so different from everyone around me. Like there's no one in not my husband, not my family, not friends, not colleagues. I mean, there are some colleagues who are pretty open-minded, who are also therapists. But I feel like I'm going to be, after 4 days, I'm going to be the weird one saying all these like weird words, you know? And I have a pretty in-depth desire to please others and sort of fit in and all that stuff. And so I feel like I'm going to learn all this great stuff. And then because I have this desire to be like others and conform, and because I want people to like me, that I'm just going to not forget it all. I'm not going to forget it all, but I'm afraid they're going to judge the shit out of me, you know?
Can you hear me? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So first, all the presumptive realities of what will come out of foundation, what wouldn't come out of foundation, how different you're going to be and how you won't fit in. Will you just destroy and uncreate it right now?
Sure.
Because you're already out there, and this is how a lot of us create our lives. We go to the worst possible outcome that we can imagine, and then we mitigate backwards. Okay. Yeah. So like, take this for just a second. When you do that, you are creating your life from a rear view mirror, not forward, because you're going, you right then you go to the future, and guess what? That future wasn't even created until you went there.
Yeah.
Okay? You went there and you put your feet on the soil of, I'm going to be so different and I'm going to be so rejected or whatever that is. And now there's soil there. Now that's a reality because you chose that. You're not wrong. Just watch how it works. Okay. And now you've got to come back from that to here, creating footsteps all the way back. Mm-hmm. This is how we create our points of view, having created our reality. And then we go, okay, where should I go? And what happens is you see the footprints and you go, okay, I'm going to footprint over that way because someone's already traveled there, not acknowledging it was you. Okay. So everything that is, and everywhere we just fried our little noggins a little bit more. Can we destroy and uncreate it times Godzillion, please?
Sure.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, puck, all nine, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. Now I'm going to ask you a question, but I'm going to have you answer me after 3 full seconds. I would love the question to actually get in. Okay. Truth, has your whole life about people pleasing been a navigation of already being different?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
everything doesn't allow you to fully acknowledge how different you are and the gift that that is to the world. Will you destroy and uncreate it, please?
Sure.
On good, bad, pod, puck, all nine, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. A lot of us people pleasers. I am a recovering one. Okay. A lot of us people pleasers are trying to navigate everybody else's desires so that we never have to look at us and they never look at us. They don't ever see us as different, or they can look at us as valuable because we fit this need. And therefore they don't have to see how different we are from them. And it gives us a sense of belonging.
Mhm.
I will not promise you that if you come to foundation, you won't feel more different. But what I can give you is that you will have way more tools for the difference that you already be. And you might be able to put some cracks in the foundation of needing to be a people pleaser and what it is to start having your own back. And that is not like rip the Band-Aid off after foundation and you walk out in the world and you have your own back. It's like, okay, now I know it's possible and I have some tools. And what does it look like to choose my reality? So I'm not always dipping into everybody else's to find what I can do for them so I can feel valuable. And that is more of a recipe for creating your life than creating everybody else's.
Mhm.
And what I would ask of any and all of you is choose it when you can't avoid the choice anymore. Okay. Do not pressure yourself into choosing this foundation, because as soon as it's the time for you and your body gets lit up and you're like, all right, I'm going, you'll know, you'll have a sense of there'll be an amount of like peace about it, a spaciousness where you're like, okay, you know what? I might be nervous as shit and I don't know what comes after this, but I'm putting one foot in front of the other and I'm going. Okay. So I would love to have you. It was so
I'm
wonderful.
definitely going. I'm definitely going. It's already, when I decided to do it, I felt so like, the light versus heavy. I felt like, woohoo, I felt like Tigger, and Winnie the Pooh kind of. So I know it's the right move. So.
And let's look at all that over the 4 days. Like, what's coming up for you? What are you worried is going to crumble that you don't have an idea of what could go in its place? Okay, because a lot of us are afraid of like whatever, if something leaves our life, that there's an empty. But do you see the difference between like, wow, this house is empty, or wow, this house is so spacious? Okay, it's again just a little twist on the point of view, and then you start to see it. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys, it's a great facilitation of manipulation when you look at like the real estate shows, like the way the words that they use and the way that they angle. I mean, you've all probably been to an Airbnb where you're like, this room looked like it could have 12 elephants in it and I can barely get my kitten in here. You know what I mean? Because the manipulation of the way that they frame it, it programs you to a different point of view. Well, what if you could do that for yourself? Like, are you looking for the problem that would arise after foundation, or are you looking for the possibilities? Are you going, wow, who will I be? I've never been in a space where I've wondered who I'll be. That's weird, because I always know who I am. I'm a people pleaser. I'm good old reliable Kim. I will show up for you. Even on my deathbed, I will, walk in the door and take care of you. And that's not wrong. It's just you feel trapped by it, or you wouldn't be asking questions about it.
Mhm.
Let's explore.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else that's up for you about the class?
Mm. else? Well, yes, I guess the one question I have is since we are gonna, I've never taken the class before, and since we are gonna take the class, are there gonna be times when we have a chance to sort of integrate these various, like a little bit of downtime? Are we gonna do, I don't, like to let it metabolize?
Yeah, well, we do like a 2.5 hour lunch every day. There'll be the time after class where we can sit and have any conversation you'd like to have and get your bars ran, and absolutely. And also for those who are coming live, Caesar's doing SOP sessions in the back of the room. So that's also a really cool way to go lower your walls and barriers and just receive what's there without your brain. So that'll be available for you. And bars training and all of that. And the people who are coming are so yummy. So, okay, so you're in good hands. Here's what I'm gonna do, you guys. So we're at the top of the hour that I know our translators need to go. Rachel, are you speaking English to me, or do you need a translator? You are? Okay, I'm gonna say thank you to everybody, and I'm gonna say thank you to my translators who need to pop off. Please know that how grateful I am for you and the possibilities, and I just can't leave without answering Rachel's question. So if you have to go, please go. Thank you so much. And anybody who would like to stay on, or it could be just me and Rachel, it's totally fine. You're welcome to stay on and have me facilitate or talk to Rachel a little bit. Caesar, do I need to stop the recording for them? Or is it okay if I just keep going?
No, let's just keep going.
Okay. And you can let everybody know that they can go. Cool. Yeah. Okay. And then I'll chat with Rachel and then we'll go, because I break all the rules. But thank you, translators. Okay, Rachel.
Okay, now I'm unmuted.
Good job.
I just switched to my laptop. So I have like a lot of different topics that I feel like it's just like a root needs to be pulled out in order for everything to just like fall in. Like it's relationships with males, it's like friendships, it's work wise. Like I have this belief that I have to work really hard in order to be successful. And yeah, I think like, I mean, everything in our life is programming from like not even like just this lifetime. I think it's also from all the other lifetimes. But how do we make the change so that like you have a certain way that you change like the cell memory? Like I don't know what the statement that you were saying was. I never could catch on. Can you say what it is?
Of course. And there's a whole website dedicated to it. So it's theclearingstatement.com. And it is such an amazing video to sit through and listen to what it all means. So it's right and wrong, good and bad. So right and wrong is like everything I've made right about this, all the energy that's up, right? We ask a question, energy comes up, and it's everything I've made right about this, everything I've made wrong, everything I've made good, and everything I've made bad. So it just kind of clears out the like
Memory.
well, yeah. And what's funny is this analogy I'm about to give you is like a root canal, right? We want to pull from the root, but we've got to clear it out around it first so that we can have the greatest extraction, right? So right, wrong, good, bad, getting all the polarity out. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, which is what I just explained, the point of destruction, point of creation. Right, like all nine layers of this crap of there's the clear.com will give depth of one right now. But there's 9 layers of like what have you made valuable about this? What have you made not valuable about this? What's I don't forget them right now. There's all these different layers of 9 that kind of gives you a bigger scoop of donkey poo.
Rachel, I would say like it's a factory reset. You know, like on your iPhone, you have a factory reset.
Okay.
Just like clears everything, like just goes back to like,
Just
okay, I
wipes
was
it.
born and I have no point of views and like I'm just happy, you know, like that kind of energy.
So saying the words programs the brain to clear?
It's not a programming. I would almost tell you it's an unprogramming.
Yeah, like uninstall, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna install the positive. Like
you remove all the crap. You remove all the crap.
Like pluck it out and then put in the good.
Yeah, but you want to be careful with what good is, because that's also a judgment. A lot of people think only bad and wrong is judgment, but you can be judged into rightness and feel
Yeah.
completely more trapped than wrongness.
So
So,
how do you figure that? Like, what's the appropriate thing to install?
question. If you
Ah,
never had another conclusion,
Curiosity.
you
Okay.
would be, yeah, curiosity. That's great. Wonderment. You would never have, if you never came to another conclusion, you would never have to uninstall anything, because you would always be following the energy that the question brought up and being willing to change your mind. So meaning, so if you're like, what would I like to eat today? Question, right? And then you're like, sushi. And then you go to the sushi restaurant and you walk in and there's a weird vibe, or it smells really bad. And you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to eat sushi here. But if you didn't conclude that sushi is what you had to have, you could look next door and see, that tacos are on sale for Taco Tuesday, and then you just make a different choice because you got new information. And if you were constantly creating your life like that, you would never have to come to a conclusion of anything that would limit you. But the thing about the good and the positive, an analogy I use for that is, how many, whether it's happened to you in your own life with like girls from high school, or, and you see in movies where a girl was the right thing in high school and then the world moved on. And then you go back to reunion and she's still trying to wear the same outfit and do the same thing because she was judged as right. And she wants to stay right so bad that she's got to maintain the weight. She's got to maintain the aesthetic. She's got to wear the same clothes, look the same way, so that she can stay right, because she doesn't want to be wrong. So when you get something right, it almost locks you harder up because we're finally not wrong. So you got to be careful with that. And we'll explore that further in the class, but it's like being aware of like, okay, where's the spaciousness? Where's the curiosity? Where's the wonderment that I can follow?
Mm-hmm.
And all of this was like so over my head for like a million years. So if it still feels kind of like, what the fuck, I'm with you.
No, I'm familiar with this stuff just because I did another I studied this therapy where we changed the cellular memory so that like from trauma or like not, it doesn't have to be big things, but like how we're all basically running our lives based on like past memories.
Absolutely.
So we're kind of a slave to like
Yeah.
those things.
Absolutely. And we have a body process in the foundation manual that's called cellular memory.
Oh, okay. I like
Yeah,
that.
so it's like a process to change trauma in the body. Exactly that. So do you see like your nose is like following an energy, and you have a word, and if that actually matches here, that's you being like, I'm leaning in, I'm being curious. What is here for me? What is this? And using your curiosity about the other things that you've experienced to explore.
Yeah, I think the relationship with money is like a huge thing for me. I struggle with I think I hold myself back from things because of money. And when I notice that, I just take a conscious step to like step in because I'm like, oh, what's holding you back? Money. Okay. And where did you learn that? And it's probably because you saw that maybe your dad, he struggled because he moved countries and he wanted to support his family and he wanted to make sure nothing was missing. So it's like you're taking on your parents' things. And it's not like you have a problem with money. I mean, that it's not there. But it's like the using of it, the application of it it's like stressful in the body. For me, my back hurts, my spine. And it's the thing of support. And I'm having this like stress of having to support myself because I want to like grow up. Like, I don't want to be a child. I'm 32. Like, come on.
Well, keep your child wonderment. Because
I
a lot
have
of
that.
yeah, you can tell. Well, a lot of us give that up in favor of being an adult and being responsible. And it's a place where we lock ourselves up big time. It's like, I can't wonder about things anymore and what else is possible and do all this because I'm an adult and I have to have a plan.
Yeah, I want the balance.
Yeah. So that, and in Access, there's so many amazing body processes, including the bars. I think Hope's doing a bars class in LA on the 16th, the day before foundation. If you're interested in that. And digging it. I mean, there's just a slew of tools that can help you like look from a different place and create your life outside of the programming of family and culture and experience and past lives and entities. I mean, there's just like a ton of stuff that we explore in this class. So I think, you know, if it's time for you, you're invited. And if it's not, it's totally fine, but like definitely keep your thumb on the pulse. Dane has a tour of consciousness YouTube channel that he delivers tools, and they go back to, I think 10, 11, 12 years ago, something like that. And it's how I changed my life. So he's my brother. And I was like too prideful to like go, I want to start coming to your classes because I want to change something. So I was like, I had rejected it for so long that I couldn't now say I wanted it. Hello. So I was like, I
Because
know
you have to be the teacher, not him.
yeah, what is, you know,
It's like siblings. This is normal.
yeah, it totally is. And so I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll go into his free content. So I had made a demand for my life. And so I woke up 30 minutes before my godzillion children. I still have 4. I had 4 at the time. I still have 4. And I have a grandbaby. So now I have like kind of like 5. And I would wake up 30 minutes before them, and I would go out in my backyard. And at the time we couldn't afford to water our grass. Okay. It was like, I had fruit trees that were dying in front of me. Everything was just brown, and it was so depressing, but like, go. And I would watch a video 30 minutes every day before the kids woke up. And that was truly the catalyst that started to change everything for me. I would watch these tour of consciousness videos, and then I would go apply the tool. And so I watched a video about like asking the universe for what you like to have and asking what else is possible. And I was like, okay, I'll do this one today. So I look at my grass and I was like, okay, what would it take, or what else is possible with dead grass? Like, can you rain California? Like, we were in a drought at the time because I can't afford to water. I was broke, you know, and I was like, okay. So I asked that all day long about my grass, because that was the only thing I was willing to have change. Okay, was my grass. And the very next day, a neighbor that I didn't know knocks on my door, having not seen my grass in the back because I was doing image really well. The grass in the front was watered. Okay, so everybody thought I had it all together. And the neighbor came over, knocked on our door, and said, I just laid new grass in my backyard and we have extra sod. Would you guys like any? And the amount that they had filled the part
Was
of grass.
perfect for you.
And while then they were like, our guys can come lay it for you. And I'm like, what? And then the what are they called? The guys that lay grass. I don't know. Can't think right now.
Gardener.
Okay, great. They go, hey, you have an area here for flowers. We also have extra flowers. Can I put flowers in for you? And all for free. And I was like, okay, all right, this shit might work. Okay. It wasn't my money.
That A to Z plus.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. I got more than what I actually asked for, and for free, and you know, like all of this stuff. But I had so many conclusions about what it was going to take to be able to pay a water bill. But the universe was just like, no, boo boo, you just ask and magical miracles show up. So I will leave you with this. Go check out Dane's YouTube channel, and you to our team, can we put the link to that playlist or that thank you, Kate, in the follow-up email? Click on that and just have fun, click away and see what's there for you. That you easy bite-sized tools. If it's not time yet to join a foundation somewhere near you, please do go play with that as a toolbox for you that's completely free. Okay. Otherwise, you're invited. Tomorrow we have a Being You in Relationship class, which has no prereqs. You don't have to have taken any other classes. It's going beyond the fairy tale. What does that look like? And like I said, we dropped it down to $25 for Valentine's Day. You're welcome to join that. And then Hope has a bars class here in LA the day before the foundation class. And then we have 4 days of foundation. Yay, Paige, I'm so excited you're coming. And you should bring one of those guitars, unless they're not yours, but maybe bring one anyways. Anyways, I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you for this exploration. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for just showing up and contributing your energy and your face here. And again, translators, for staying over. And for those of you who just know that I'm going to go over, I'm grateful for you too. Big hugs and thank you, team, for being so beautiful and brilliant and magical and getting all the translators and everybody organized. Thank you. Big hugs and kisses, and I'll see you somewhere soon.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. See you soon. Bye.